Coming to paperback and e-readers, Isis Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Isis Dark Incubus at Amazon.com and other online booksellers everywhere. Better get the go slow, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. I got a comment from a black female on my video, Why Pride is Keeping Most Black Women Single, that basically proves my point. Now, this comment was left by a black female who wanted to say, let's talk about why you're single. Okay, let's talk about why Shawn is single. And one of the reasons why Shawn is single is because he cannot receive respect from most of these black women out here. And the reason why I walk away from women who cannot show me basic respect is because if I cannot receive basic respect, there is no reason for me to look to move anything forward as related to my interest in a woman. Because if you cannot go out here and show a man basic respect, then that man has no reason to even invest his time in you, because every second you invest in a woman who shows you disrespect basically is time that you're wasting. Now, there are guys who were back in the day who would go along with these kinds of games where they would play hard to get, where these women would go out here and try to make it like the guy had to chase after them, but I'm not one of those guys. No, as a man who understands his role in God's order as a leader, I do not chase women, because if a woman shows me disrespect from minute one, then I know that I need to put a period at the end of things and move on. And I move on because the whole thing is, if you cannot go out and show me basic respect on our initial meeting, then I know that there's no way I can move anything forward, because if you cannot go out and show a man respect, then that man is not going to be motivated to go out and look to pursue anything. And that's the thing that flies over most black women's heads over the last 40 years, as their mothers were indoctrinated into feminism. Over the last 40 to 60 years, since these women have been indoctrinated into feminism, these black girls who grew up primarily in these single mother homes learned to disrespect men, because the women were indoctrinated into white feminism and told to disrespect their black fathers. And as they disrespected their black fathers, as they were a part of the welfare state, getting all of the good government benefits, they were taught a model that would keep them from being able to have a healthy relationship with a man. Because if you see your mother out here and your grandmother and your auntie out here disrespecting men, talking greasy about men, and then when you approach a man, you're talking down to a man like a child and being condescending and arrogant, what that man is going to do as he's being disrespected is take his respect by taking his presence away from you. And he's going to take his presence away from you because he sees that there's no reason for him to move forward as related to taking you seriously as a partner in a relationship. Because for a man like myself who serves the Most High God, I understand that as a head, I'm looking for a helpmeet, and as someone looking for a helpmeet, I need somebody who will be a person who will reflect positively on me. And if you cannot go out and carry and conduct yourself in a respectful way when you first meet me, this is not going to end in a way if I got involved with you. And again, when it comes to relationships, how you start with someone is how you end up in a relationship. That's what I talk about in my book, Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance. And I make that point because if you start out with a woman who is very disrespectful towards you in the beginning, it's not going to get better over the course of your relationship. No, it's going to get worse. And the reason why it's going to get worse is because if this woman sees that she can go out here and violate your boundaries from minute one, then she has no respect for you, and that disrespect is going to turn into contempt. And as it turns into contempt, what eventually is going to happen is that she's going to escalate her disrespect towards you. And as she escalates her disrespect towards you, what's going to happen is you're going to wind up in a situation where you're going to be miserable in that relationship, because that relationship isn't going to grow. No, that relationship is just going to deteriorate over time. And as I see it, life is too short to be involved with a woman who is showing you disrespect from minute one. That's something I learned way back in high school when I was dealing with these teenage girls who were out here with these dope dealers and these gang members and these thugs. And I said to myself, if this girl is out here with this kind of company, that basically tells me a lot about her character. And it tells me that if she will be in the company of enemies of the black community, then this is not somebody you can build a relationship with, because she's out here supporting the very men tearing down my community. And if she's with the men tearing down my community, then I'm not going to be with those women in the neighborhood, because there's no way I can build with that woman, because she will pull apart anything that I work on brick by brick and then look to break a man down. That's something that I understood way back when I was about 15 years old. I understood back then that if you do not have respect, again, you do not have a relationship. And that's one of the reasons why I walked away from most of these women out here back in 1989, because I saw what the direction was as related to these women's behavior, and again, put a period at the end of things, because you cannot work with a woman who has a toxic mindset that she has learned in single mother households, where she learns to disrespect you directly, and again, will disrespect you directly to your face, and think that, oh, I'm just being cute or funny. No, there's nothing cute or funny when a woman disrespects you. No, a man understands that if a woman shows him disrespect at the first meeting, that's going to be the last meeting between him and her, and that's the policy I've had for over 30 years. I mean, the one thing that I look for in women is respect, and if I don't see respect in that initial meeting, then I'm putting a period at the end of things, because I understand the value of my time. And again, too many black women are too proud to admit that their approach to men is one of the things keeping them single. And again, because they are too proud and arrogant, because these simps have basically gassed their heads up, they go out here thinking that they are the best thing since sliced bread, and think that they can go out here and openly disrespect men straight to their face. They think they can openly disrespect a man and think, oh, I can say, let's talk about why you're single. Well, that man has no interest and incentive to even consider you for any sort of relationship, because the way you behave would reflect negatively on him, and the way you behave basically reflects so negatively that that man doesn't even want to consider you because of your behavior. And this is the thing that many black women don't want to hear, that your behavior is a turnoff, because a man is looking, again, for that intangible of respect. He doesn't care about your degrees. He doesn't care about your job. No, what he cares about is his respect, because if he's out here and he's looking to build with you, he needs respect in order to get the help that he needs to meet his needs as related to his mental, emotional, and spiritual needs. And he also needs support as related to working with him. And it's hard to work with a man if you have no respect for him. How can you work with a man towards building anything if you have no respect for him? Critical question I want to ask that commenter: how can you work with a man towards building anything if you have no respect for anything that he's working on? I mean, as a guy who runs a publishing company, the SJS Direct imprint, I mean, this is something that is essential to me as a creator. I mean, how can I work with a woman who's out here expressing contempt for me because she doesn't understand what a writer's process is, what a artist's process is, and wants to dismiss everything? I mean, she wouldn't understand that in order to be a publisher, you have to write books because she would want to waste your time doing other things. And again, I would rather stay single and be focused on my purpose than get involved with a toxic woman like this who doesn't understand the basic rules of relationships, because any woman with a father would understand this, who has a father who's actively in her life. She would understand, because she sees her mom respecting her father, that she has to respect that man and his purpose, because that's how you build in a relationship. You can't work with a woman who won't work with you. No, if she's out here second guessing you, questioning you, and trying to figure out what you're trying to do, how can she follow your lead? Again, other critical question I want to ask, because if you're out here and you're with a man and he's out here looking to lead and set direction for himself and set a course for himself as related to where he wants to go, this man cannot work with you if you're out here with an attitude, if you're out here being disrespectful, if you're out here with the slick mouth, because he doesn't know if you're going to go out here and embarrass him in a situation. I mean, if you're out here working with clients and you're working with contacts and you have a woman like this who's going out here rolling eyes, sucking teeth, going out here making slick statements under her breath, this is not a woman who's viable for a partner in a relationship. And that's what I ran into all throughout my days of junior high school and high school. And by the time I got into college, most of those women were single moms. So at that point, most of those women in my neighborhood were basically done. So that's why I am single, again, because I saw where the road these women were on back in 1989, and sadly, almost 40 years later, nothing much has changed as related to this behavior, because from generation to generation, these women learn a dysfunctional life paradigm of failure from their feminist, indoctrinated black single grandmothers, and that's passed down to them by their mothers. And as we've going into the generation of their granddaughters and great-granddaughters, what's really sad is that these women have not taken a minute to self-reflect, and take that minute to self-reflect and understand, hey, the approaches that grandma, mama, auntie, and my cousins were using as related to approaching relationships with men are failures, and these approaches are the good reason why 75 to 85% of black women are single. The main reason why 75 to 85% of black women in America are single is mainly because they follow this feminist paradigm of failure, not seeing how it's not working out for them. They want to go out here and be proud and talk about how they're strong and independent and don't need a man. But the whole thing is that while they say they don't need a man, they go out here and disrespect the very men who, like myself, who would have wanted to build a relationship with a black woman, and again, want to love black women. But the whole thing is, when you don't love yourself, you refuse to take a moment to listen to the criticism of men of character who are trying to instruct you so that you can wind up doing better, because one of the roles of a man is to provide instruction and guidance to a woman. But when you have a woman who is too proud to concede to the authority of God's steward, the man, this makes it where that woman is an unworkable person that you cannot deal with, and again, an untenable situation, because when this woman wants to express her contempt for you with her sarcasm and trying to be slick as related to the mouth, what happens is that man is not going to go out here and do anything physically to that woman. No, what he's going to do is walk away from that woman and walk away from that collective of women in that neighborhood or at that school, and he's going to leave them to the tender mercies of Pookie and Ray Ray, because at that point there's no reason to pursue anything at all as related to these women. Again, when you are disrespectful and rude and just are condescending and don't want to listen to any sort of instruction or guidance from the man God made to be your leader, that man doesn't look to lead you. No, he leaves you to wander in the wilderness. And as he leaves you to wander in the wilderness, you will wind up again on that road to bust downtown, where your social marketplace value will drop 50, 60, 70, even 80% off the original social marketplace price. And the only dudes who will deal with you are these simps. And again, these simps have no self-respect. So it's basically people who have the same thing in common, finding each other. They're finding each other because, again, the simp basically has no backbone, no standards, and no understanding of the concept of respect. And you will wind up in a unsatisfying, dysfunctional relationship where you don't grow because you don't want to swallow your pride and start looking to accept that, yes, you have an issue and you have to show respect to a man, because if a man cannot receive his respect from the first meeting, then that will be the last meeting between you and that man, because a man who has an understanding of his purpose in God's order and his purpose as a man, the first thing that man is looking for is his respect. And if he does not see basic respect, where you can just treat this man the way you would want to be treated under the standard of the Bible, where Jesus told us to love our neighbors as ourselves, and he told us to love the Lord with all our heart, soul, and strength. And part of loving the Lord with all your heart, soul, and strength is treating others how you want to be treated. That's all part of finding a person that you have a healthy relationship with. But when you grow up in dysfunction, when you grow up in chaos, you see all of these men just settling for disrespect because they want her to drop the skid mark jockey thong and put the carbon rod in the atomic waste reactor and get the taste of the atomic waste. But I say that woman's atomic waste isn't worth my time, because I value respect more than any sort of sexual access, because if I cannot get respect, then there's no reason for me to waste my time dealing with toxic women. And that's why I walked away and left them alone, because if I cannot have respect, if I cannot be given basic respect that this woman will give a white boss at a job, will give the Arab corner store owner at the Arab corner store, or give the people who are working at the supermarket, if I can't get that respect as a man, then there's no reason for me to pursue relationships with that woman. Moreover, when it comes to respect, respect is the most important thing. And again, some will sit there and say respect has to be earned. No, I say respect needs to be given, because this is how you make your first impression on a man. You make a first impression on a man if you are interested in, by showing that man respect. And that respect that you show that man will leave a more powerful first impression than being out here with your face all made up and this weave in your head and all this other nonsense. If you show this man respect, that man will have an interest in you. And if he can see that he can receive respect, he will look to pursue a serious relationship with a woman. But if a woman is out here and she shows a man disrespect, that man will go out here, and if he is one of these users, he'll just go out here and show his contempt for you by pumping and dumping you. But as I see it, I want to do unto others as I want done unto me. So I'm just going to leave you alone and leave you to yourself. And this is the fate that many of these black women suffer, because They are too proud to admit when they're wrong. They're too proud to admit that their approaches to life are wrong. They're too proud to admit these whole approaches are failures. And when you try to correct them by making a video like I did, they want to come out here with the slick mouth. And again, the slick mouth is the main reason why 75 to 85% of these black women are single. Because when a man sees he doesn't get his respect, he's not going to go out here and argue and go back and forth with you like Pookie or Ray Ray. No, once he sees that you are not going to be fit to be a reflection of him as related to your behavior, your basic behavior, he sees that he cannot take you out anywhere without you looking to embarrass him or looking to try to compete with him someplace and try to make him look like a clown. He's going to leave you in these streets, and he's going to leave you in these streets because you don't understand basic etiquette. You don't understand basic social protocol. And since you don't understand basic social etiquette or basic social protocol, he is not even considering to engage you. And he's not considering to engage you because at this point, you have already made a bad first impression. And that first impression guarantees this will be the last time a dude will want to deal with you. Now, if you want to learn why women like this commenter are going to be single for the rest of their lives and the paradigm of failure that they follow that will keep them single, you can pick up my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find Why 70% of Black Women Are Single at other online booksellers like Draft to Digital, Google Play, and you can also find it at retailers like Barnes & Noble in paperback and digital format like The Nook, and find it at big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos about men's issues and issues to try to help those black women who want help, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS, Amari's Revenge. The goddess next door is confronted by a Nubian queen out for revenge at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in this inaugural ISIS series adventure. Get your copy of ISIS, Amari's Revenge in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere.
Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many black women can't find a husband and why 70% of black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today.
Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.